Alright, so this video sadly got heavily outdated due to so many balance changes and some new cards, so now I'm remaking it, so hopefully this one doesn't get outdated for a while. But anyway, today I'm going to show you guys a sword build which you can use or make changes to or whatever you please. So let's get into today's video. So how this video will work is I will show my stats, then my cards, and explain my reasonings for these stats and cards, and then I will answer some popular questions that might come up about the build, and then I will show you guys the build in action. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so for this sword build, I decided to go 40 HP, 15 SP, and 30 BP. I think why I picked the max BP is obvious, but some of you guys might be a little bit confused on why I picked the amount of SP and HP stats, so let's go over those first. For the HP, I picked this high amount because with this build, you won't be getting a lot of healing other than the occasional ice dagger and 2 happy SPs I have with this build, so I am sort of a tank with 40 HP and plus 2 defense, so it isn't a bad choice. I picked 15 SP because sword moves are not expensive at all, and with SP and a few other cards SP related, this build does not have an SP issue. So I feel like having 15 max SP is completely fine and good, and you shouldn't have to worry about SP if you use this build properly. So let's get into the cards, and keep in mind I have 30 BP, and for sword builds you don't need that much BP in order to use everything you need for a sword build. So yeah, it is a good thing, and it also allows me to have a bunch of passive cards that can either keep my SP or HP stats up. Alright, first I have Knight equipped, which is, obvious since this is a sword loadout video. And next I have 2 Defend Plus cards, which I sorta explained at the start, but it's because since I have 40 HP and no healing cards, it's really to make me as tanky as possible, because one of the other cards in this build, which is called Aggressor, and if you didn't know, Aggressor is one of the new cards that was added in Demo 4, and what it does is basically you get the +1 damage on all things, but instead of your HP slowly ticking when you take damage, you just go straight to your current HP. So this card is really good to help me with the drawbacks, and it is why I picked 2 Defend Plus cards. Next is SP Saver, which is kinda obvious, but since sword cards don't cost a lot of SP, SP Saver enables that more. It makes the cards really cheap to use, so I don't have to worry about SP being an issue like ever. To also make sure SP is never an issue, I do have 3 happy SP cards equipped, as well as 2 happy SP cards equipped for a little healing here and there. I also have Resurrect equipped in case anything goes wrong and I need an extra life. And I do have Feel Fine because recently, as we progress through the game, more and more enemies keep spamming status effects, so this is to prevent that and make sure I don't take extra damage or skip a turn, making me lose some DPS. I also have 3 HP finders and 1 SP finder equipped just for the passive HP and SP regen after battles. Use these if you have any of them. They are extremely useful since they do not cost any BP to use. And finally, I have all the basic sword cards like Softener, Sword Toss, Daze, and Power Stab. The cards that bring this build all together is Knight, Aggressor, and Daze, and you will soon see why, but me getting +2 damage from Aggressor and Knight is extremely useful for Daze, since Daze does half the damage to the enemy behind the one you hit, which is extremely good, and it also applies Dizzy, which is again extremely good. Now that I have explained all my card and stat reasonings, here are the final stats and cards, so take a moment to look at them. If you want to use or change this build, feel free to. Before I get onto the fan questions I think you guys are gonna ask, let me just clarify some things about the build. Number 1, you need to know which cards to use in which situation. If an enemy has defense, use Softener. If an enemy has 4 or 3 HP left, use your regular sword. Do not use any sword moves that cost SP. It's you just need to know how and when to use certain cards for this build and you're solid. That's like the only recommendation I think I really need for this build, so let's get on to the questions. I'm gonna answer some popular questions that I feel like would be commented, and number one is, why no anti-up? Honestly, my reasoning for no anti-up is because I just feel like it's mid. It makes it harder to land all your attacks just for 1 extra damage, and if you fail, you just do no damage at all, which sucks. And honestly, I feel like out of all the cards, anti-up affects sword the hardest, which, you know, sucks. I just feel like aggressor mogs it completely, but if you do feel confident that you can use anti-up and land most of your shots, feel free to use it, but personally me, I just think it's too hard to use just for, you know, +1 damage. And I just like aggressor more, but it's your choice because you can easily replace 1 defend plus for anti-up. The next question will be, why no power rush? Again, I just feel like this card is mid, especially for this particular build, because this build has +2 defense and it has 40 HP, so it will take a while to even kick in for the damage bonus. But me personally, I would just prefer to stay alive and not be nearing death for, what, +1 more damage? Again, this is just me personally, you can switch things around if you would like to. Another question I can see being asked is, why no charge for bigger damage? Honestly, especially in single player, I would still be doing the same amount of damage if I just attacked twice, rather than just wasting 1 turn to charge and another turn to damage. And also, this build only has 15 SP, so charge would eat all my SP up. The last question I will be answering is, why no infect? And that is because I would just rather use rocket boots for fire and the defense debuff, or just use venom for the poison. I don't really see the reasoning to use infect all that much, you know? If you guys have any other questions or recommendations about this build, comment it below and I will try to answer everyone to the best of my ability. But that's enough yapping, it's time to show you guys the build in action, so enjoy!